Growing old definitely comes with back pain, that's for sure. But I wanted to share with you 23 lessons that I've learned till now. Hey friends, welcome back to this channel. I wanted to share with you these 23 tips, mental models you can call them, to help you live better, happier lives. Lesson number 1 is compound interest. Compound interest is pretty much known as the 8th wonder of the world because it's everywhere. It's in the things you do, your habits, your work, your play, whatever it might be. If you do something for a long time, it ends up compounding at an exponential level. Let's say if you wanted to start something new, initially it's going to be super hard, but slowly you keep working at it and eventually it gets to a level where it compounds to something bigger than what you might have imagined it could be. And that's where the exciting things come in. So whether it's your personal health, your work, or you're managing your personal finances, compounding is super important, so why not make it work in our favors? Lesson number 2 is having a projects list. Project list is the idea of having one place, whether it's in your phone, computer, or even like a journal, is having all your ideas that you kind of want to build out to something that's tangible so you can put it out in the world to say. Just having those ideas in one place and taking them off your mind helps your brain give the mental capacity to have even more of those ideas. Why not have more? And over time, your brain learns from these were the good ideas, these were the bad ones. So it kind of adapts from which ones to have more of and which ones to neglect for the future. And it's not neglecting in a bad sense, it's just filtering out the better ideas from the good ones. Lesson number 3 comes from this book called Make Time by these 2 authors. And the book pretty much talks about this main concept of having a daily highlight. There's a lot of things that always come up in the day, and sometimes days are super busy. Some days it might be like, what do I get to do? And usually if you're working, it's going to be always busy. But each day you should have one daily highlight, whether it's for something you want to do that you enjoy, something for work, whether it's like a presentation, or let's say you want to practice cooking, so maybe that's your one daily highlight. Having that as your one highlight makes you focus on that in the background of your brain, but also as like setting your intention for the day. So no matter what happens, you get that done, and that is an accomplished day. Lesson number 4 is the idea of having a story-worthy moment of the day. What that means is from this book called Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. The idea is that we tend to just go through life without capturing the important. Yeah, we do take pictures, we go on trips, make albums, make videos, but what about the daily, day-to-day activities? What if you want to look back at it in the future, but you never get the chance to? So what Matthew says is each day, at the end of the day, have a short summary of something that was a story that happened during the day. It might be something you went to the grocery store and you met your friend, so you started chatting up, who you haven't met in like 6 months. Anything could be your story-worthy moment. And over time, I've been doing this for about like a year and a half, and there's so many days that I can just quickly go back into it and see and read the summary. So then the rest of the memories come flooding back without me having to actually think about, or in the future when I'm older, I might just forget some of the days, some of the memories that I had with my friends. So keep more of those memories to myself and not let them go. This is something that I've been trying to do. Lesson number 5 is you can't please everyone. And that's the true reality. What happens is, more often than not, there will always be a path that others want you to follow. And if you don't think and reflect for yourself, what happens is, because of what others might tell you and the ideas and paths they give might seem like good possibilities, we just tend to ignore and really ask ourselves, what do we want, and follow those paths. But eventually there comes a time where you kind of look back, even if you might have all the success, you look back and think about, did I really just want to do this? Yeah, I have all this money, a good house, but what if there's something more that I wanted to do, but I never really gave it a go? Yes, it's important to learn from what others want, but it's also really important to ask yourself, what do you really want? Lesson number 6 is always be learning something new. The world we live in now is changing at a faster rate. Each year something new comes in and the advancements just get faster and faster. So even just to survive in your job or wherever field you might be going in, technology is going to affect it in some shape or form. And you have to be willing to just adapt to the new things coming. Not just adapt to them when the things or the technology is here, but be on a lookout where the world is kind of moving towards, what are the new trends and how you can kind of get ahead on that. Just by doing that, you can be way further ahead than anything else might be by just forming the basic norm of society. Lesson number 7 is to learn personal finance. This is something that's not taught in school, and it's crazy this is not done so. This is one of the most essential skills that should be taught for at least a year in high school, but it's not done so. Definitely learn how to do your personal finances, investing, just the basics is good enough. You don't have to go full on stock trading. If you like, you can learn more into it, but just having the basic knowledge of how money works, it comes in and goes out, and how you can compound it is something that's super important to have.
Lesson number 8. Lesson number 8 is the idea of a window opener versus a door knocker. It goes pretty much, there's pathways in life where you start at a certain point and you can see through the window of opportunity, if you want to call it, where it leads to. So you can see across the glass to, this is the end result, this is what the future will look like if I go through this path. But what's actually often found is the people that have taken different pathways that are not the norm is they get to these places which don't require a singular certain type of path to take. These are the door knockers. They knock on different doors. It takes a while to get to places, and some doors lead to new better places, but some doors open other opportunities for them. And these door knockers are often the ones that get this massive exposure for them so they can use it to make a better contribution than they would have been able to do by just being a window opener pathway. Lesson number 9 is from this author, Derek Sivers, who has a blog and some books. He talks about what's actually obvious to you might be pretty amazing to others. So it's often that whatever we might think is just super obvious to us, but to others it actually, whatever you share, whatever findings, something like a life hack, might be crazy to somebody else who might find it useful. That discovery might then lead on to them discovering more ideas which overall make them more help. So the point is to share things that you might seem super common to you, but if at some point you learned something and it helped you, there's definitely someone out there. Lesson number 10 is kind of something that relates to our older lesson, is where you can't please everyone. That don't worry what others might. It's often that we tend to shy away from things just by telling ourselves, oh, I can't do it, without even trying it in the first place. Because a lot of it comes from fearing what others might think. It might be your friends, family, or just thinking, oh, if I post it or something, what others might think. Just do it if it's something that interests you and you want to try it out for yourself, not because the judgment of others. There will always be people who will judge, but that's something out of your control. So why focus on it? Why give fuel to the fire, so to say? Lesson number 11 is living in the past. While it's important to learn from the past, just getting stuck in the past without focusing on what actually worked, what were the lessons, and what can be used for this new future you're trying to create, you might just get stuck in it. So it's important to know that the past was an opportunity and there were failures and successes both together. And now using those lessons, we can go on further to create even bigger successes that might help not just yourself, but others around you. Lesson 13 is something that you can use if you feel tired or feel like there's so much work to do all the time. Is in the mornings when you have to do things, instead of saying, oh, I have to do something, change the wording. Just tell yourself, oh, you get to do something. For example, it's walking your dog in the morning and it's super hot. Yeah, it can be a pain, but sometimes it's just you getting the opportunity to spend time with your dog or helping out your friend. You get to help them instead of you have to. That this is something you enjoy and you're happy in doing the process, not just always wanting something more that's out there. Which is good to want future and better things, but not just chasing it without enjoying the moment in the right now. Lesson 14 is talking about writing better. Tim Ferriss is a famous podcaster, author, talks about whenever it's the first draft, you should focus on writing fast and writing bad and writing wrong. Most often what happens is you try to combine the writing, the first draft, and combining the edit in the same go, but that limits your brain from even thinking in the first place at all. It just forces you to cut some thoughts without even putting them out there. Instead, you should just dump as much information as you can. Just get through the task, and then in the second round is when you filter out and keep the best ideas and discard the bad ones. So whenever you want to write something, it's going to be for work or for anything that's out there, just put a FBR on the top of your page so you know you can just keep on writing without having to backspace or delete it all. Lesson number 15 is talking about this principle called the Explore Exploit algorithm. This is from this book called Algorithms to Live By. The book talks about many different algorithms for life, how we see things, how our brain perceives things. But the first one it'll talk about is this one, which is pretty much most of the times we're in the explore phase. We're looking for the next best thing, how to do things better. Anything you do, how to cook food, how to make something, how to brush your teeth is kind of like an algorithm if you think about it. Once you figure out how to do something and that's providing the results, then you want to exploit that. So it's saying most of the times the goal is to look for the best way to explore. And once you've explored enough, it's time to exploit the things that keep on working to give you the results that you want. Lesson number 16 is something that's super important that is a rare skill now. Most people just like not listen and talk. But this skill is actually listening. Listening is actually so important nowadays because there's so much information out there. And without having the intention to just provide something in value, the first step should be just, without having the end goal of speaking, just listen to someone's conversation and then process it, take a minute, and then answer. What you find out is you actually pay more attention and the answers that you give are actually way better overall. Lesson number 18 is about creating goals. I wrote this in my weekly newsletter. You can check it out in the description below and I'll link it up here too. And what I talked about is how James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he talked about the principle of focusing on identity and not on outcome goals. Most often the outcome goals are, for example, let's say you want to lose weight in 2 months, which is you're focusing on the outcome. And then after 2 months you lose weight, you just go back to doing what you were doing before. So you might regain the weight again. But what Clear talks about is, why not focus on the identity of a person who lives a healthier life? Or if you want to write more, the identity of a person who is a writer. Or let's, for example, if you want to start something new, the identity of a person that does that specific task is way better than just focusing on making some outcome and then going back to your old habits. The change in this identity is what will help you become into the person, whatever that might be, without having to sacrifice into your old habits again and focusing on new ones. Lesson number 17 is the idea of a flywheel. This is something that's more common now. Anything, whatever work you might be doing, if it's not your own business, then there's a possibility that things might happen. And for example, you might be let go. So the goal is to create this flywheel. The flywheel is different things that you do, different hobbies, different side incomes you might create, which become part of this flywheel. And initially, it's super hard to make this flywheel go around, but what happens is over time, if you keep consistent at it and use the compounding rule, then over time, once this flywheel gets started and you have passive income coming from different areas, you don't have to do the same amount of work because there's different resources working for you while you're sleeping. And once the flywheel is just going, and it just keeps on going and only gets faster and faster and doesn't ever stop. Now, this is something that takes years to create. Lesson number 19 is the go first rule. This rule is pretty much talking about whenever there's something new to try, why not go first? So often we're scared of things before even trying them, whether it might be talking to a stranger or just trying something new. What I'm trying to do more often now is by just trying to think, this is something new, it could be exciting, it could be something I try only one time, but if I don't go first and just shy away from it, or if I don't talk to that person first, who knows, I might have missed out on a great friendship. I might have missed out on somebody who might have become a business partner later on, somebody who might have helped me out in something that we both could work on together and create something together. Try to go first. Lesson number 20 is having an inbox for your brain. In this book called Getting Things Done, which is like the Bible of productivity, it talks about how the brain is for having ideas and not storing them. So there should be a place, whether it's in your computer or notebook, where and every time you have an idea, any thought, that's something that you might want to build on later on, you can put it down in that notebook or in the digital. And this is the inbox where you store articles, podcasts, anything that you want to later on read, or it's something that you want to later on look at to see, oh, that was actually a pretty good idea, or that was like, nah, it's just pretty good in the moment, but the overthinking, now looking back at it, it was a dumb idea. Then this inbox helps your brain get more clear, it provides a more sense of calm, and helps you have more ideas overall. Lesson number 21 is having a weekly review session every week. This is something also from the Getting Things Done book, which is if you don't have your house in order, which is to say everything you do in your life, then how can the rest of the stuff you do be on track? A lot of times we're just always on the go, never stopping, thinking we're going to fall behind. But there's no competition. You're just competing against your own past self. All you have to do is once a week, take a day, where you're just doing housekeeping of figuring out, okay, these are the things that I wanted to work on this week or this month, and am I still on track for those? What are some smaller goals that I wanted to reach for the week? Some 2-3 things that I wanted to publish. Have I done that? By doing that on those days for once a week, you know if you've gotten off track, or sometimes things might come in the way and you couldn't get it done. It's just like a small pit stop before you keep on going on your journey. Just think of it like that. And overall, people that have done this the most have found it super useful. I've been trying to do it. This is actually pretty hard to do because it's hard to stop. And it's super hard to stop. But whenever I have done this, if I've fallen behind or if I've seen a better opportunity than currently what I was doing, this is the place I would figure it out. So it's something I want to implement more as I go on. Lesson number 22 is talking about this principle called the Reitoff Principle, which I got from this YouTuber, Ali Abdul. But it talks about some days you might just not feel like it, and that's okay. Because our brains and our body both need rest. If you don't give it the rest, then it's going to burn out. And we don't want that to happen. Keep going in this marathon as long as we can. So on those days, why not just relax on the couch, call that day a write-off. Yeah, we've got to make sure not every day is a write-off. But on some days, you can take that write-off day. Just relax a bit. Spend time with the people you want. Go meet your friends if they live close to you. Just enjoy the day. Tomorrow, you'll have another chance to go at it again and get back into the zone. And it might be just that small little bit, a day off that you needed to get back into it. The final lesson in this video is the benefits of writing more. I used to actually hate writing in high school, and I was just so annoyed when every time I had to write something. But the fact is, you're only going to have to write more, whether it's a report, writing some kind of blog post, writing something for a social media platform, writing, literally writing for everything. You write a letter, that's writing. You write a script. A movie's made by a script. A TV show, scripts. Everything has writing involved in it, so why not get good at it? One way to use this is this thing called the stream of consciousness journaling, which is in the mornings before using your phone or anything. You can journal down your thoughts just for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You can even do 10 minutes as you get used to it, but just start by 2 minutes writing down anything that comes to your brain. It doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to make sense. You can even make new words. You can even make your own language, but as long as it's whatever is in your mind, you're getting it out onto paper. Over time, what happens is your mind gets better at organizing thoughts and you have better ideas. This all goes back to overall having better ideas together. And if your mind is clear, you can think and find out ways to work on different things that might actually help you instead of just always feeling that mental fog in your head. So these were the 23 lessons, and there's more out there that might be learning and I can update in the future videos. But these were the 23 lessons that have helped me in improving from my mistakes and learning new things that have helped me over time. Hopefully you found these useful, and if you'd like to get to know more about these new lessons and mental models that I find on productivity, health, and fitness, then subscribe to my weekly newsletter in the description below. I would love for you to join us there. We have a bunch of people who I share these insights to and have found it super useful, and they've actually enjoyed it a lot. Hopefully you found this useful, and let me know in the comments which mental model was your most favorite, and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.